Welcome back, my friends, to TFT Hyperroll with Artark and what is likely the final episode of TFT for me. I'll set up a chapter thing in the description so that you can jump to the RANT if you want to just jump to that, but we're gonna do a build first, and we'll jump right to the augments because that's where this one's going to take shape. If you remember in my portal video and every other one, I said if you get Unstable Yordle Delivery, just take it. Because, yeah. Now, normally I would say wait on deciding which Yordle you want to prioritize for the game to show itself. In this case, I really wanted to push Gunners because that's the one I had not done yet. Item-wise, Rageblade is essential. We already have our Needlessly Large Rod. Then you want to build attack items on Tristana. So BF Sword in this case will be the best choice. You want to also tank up Poppy because you're hoping that those are going to be your 2 4-stars. And although unlike in Piltover, you're not trying to lose early, don't expect to win anytime soon. Yordles just aren't that strong on their own until they start getting the buff up to 4 stars. If you happen to get lucky with items, you may have a shot, but otherwise, yeah, it's just going to be lose streaks. And as you can see from my bench, I just kind of committed into Gunners, picking up Jace and Jinx, hoping to find Zeri down the line, or potentially a Senna if I can get her up high enough or get a Gunner emblem. I don't love to pass on spatulas, but just don't need it here. I can pick up either the Giant's Belt for Poppy or the BF Sword and actually make a Death Blade on Tristana, which will give him a power spike. But I'm in no real rush to do that because I don't think it's going to help me win. The 2 gold is a little bit helpful. It gives me an extra roll from losing, but again, your goal is not to force losing the way it is in Piltover. It is time for our second set of augments, and yeah, quick choice, golden ticket, because you combine that with the Unstable Yordle Delivery system, and you are going to be able to get your Yordles up really quickly. It's time to start itemizing Poppy, who's going to be the tank. And Poppy has now reached 3 stars, so we just need 2 more to get someone up to 4 stars, and that's where you're going to see the real power spike in this build, because that ultimately becomes the key to everything. And once you can get your 3rd 3-star champion, it doesn't have to be a Yordle, it can be any champion. It's just easier with Yordle portals to get a Yordle. Someone will be promoted to 4 stars. It's the one with the most items. If you have equal numbers of items, you can change it in and out by moving them in and off the board. And as you can see, the power spike is pretty immediate. A 4-star champion makes all the difference, and even though they're able to eliminate our backline, Poppy's like a honey badger. She just doesn't care, and is going to lose very little health finishing off the other team. Now, I am not sure if this is a bug or not. It gives me a Heimer when I have a 0% chance to get legendary champions. So I'm now able to go to 2 4-star platinum Yordles because I have the 5th, but I technically shouldn't have been able to get it yet. So again, I don't know if that's a bug or if they would ever even care to fix it, even if it is. And since there's really no mystery on how these fights are going to go, we'll just put them on hyper speed for hyper roll and get through them quickly. Yeah, we won. It is time for the final augment, and I'm warning you right now, this build is going to get a little bit silly as we go forward. We get the chance for the Gunner Heart, which means we can go to 6. So we'll have a 4-star Gunner in Tristana, who is now going to be able to get up to the 6 Gunner bonus. And we're just picking up more and more champs. We're 1 Jinx away. We're about to get our second 2-star Jace, and we have 2 Zeris waiting to get in. Now, of the potential Yordle builds, this is likely the least powerful, Multicaster being the strongest, then Slayer, then this one, but they all work pretty well. Item-wise here, I'm hoping for 2 Heimer items, and the reason is that I need to get 3 items on Heimer. None of these work, but I do have a Reforger, so I'm just going to go ahead and reforge them, and whatever I get goes on Heimer. The reason is, if I manage to get Heimer up to 3 stars, he will go to 4 stars, but only if he has 3 items, because we already have Trist with 3 items, and Poppy with 3 items. So you need to have Heimer with 3 items. We now have the ability to go to the gold 3-star Jace with the champion duplicator we have on the bench. Now normally I don't worry about Riftwalk teams, but this Riftwalk team managed to pick up a Shadow Isle emblem, and they're running 4 Bastion, meaning that Kassadin is a lot more powerful with those additional traits, making this team able to beat us. I'm not really concerned about any other team because our front line can hold them up, but since Kassadin can jump into the back line and then back out of it, that could be a problem. With that last victory, we are now into the top 4. And we get to bring in Senna to give ourselves 6 gunners. Now, more important than the items we're getting, we got a champion duplicator out of that. So we're going to be able to create an additional champion. We could use it now to bring Zeri up to gold 3 stars, but I have my sights set somewhere else. Because there's gotta be more Heimers out there. Or we can get them through the portal. We just have to survive. Luckily, we're not fighting the Riftwalker team in this next battle. Now, it's possible just adding the 2-star Senna to the bunch is enough to get through everyone else. 6 gunners is a significant spike, especially with a 4-star Platinum Tristana on the team, but I ultimately don't want to take any chances. We head into the next fight, and the portal gives us gold instead of a Yordle. It's possible all the Heimers are taken, and I have absolutely no chance of getting that last Heimer. But then I find him, champion duplicate him up. We now have a Platinum 4-star Heimer, and we get to end TFT on a real bang. How much damage do you think he's going to do? Let's see. He'll spin. We win 41,000 damage, and it was GG for everyone. Okay, so let's talk about why this is the last episode. I want to try to keep the criticisms here constructive, and I'll be showing some footage from a match I never posted, because I didn't do it quite the way I really wanted to, although it ended up in a win. I realized after I was done I should have done it differently for a better impact. As a lot of you know, I was a day 1 alpha player for TFT, because this was a brand new concept to me. I hadn't played Dota Undergrounds or the auto chess games. The auto battler concept was new, and what I liked is that it felt a lot like poker, in that if you had enough knowledge and strategy, you could work yourself around the RNG to some extent, but bad beats were always possible. I didn't like Season 4 with the Fates because I felt that pigeonholed comps too much, and the strategy for that season became just trying to race to 8 as fast as possible, then sell your chosen, hopefully get a really new good one, and then rebuild the team around it. Season 5 was great because not only did they bring in hyperroll, but it walked away a little bit from that Fate mechanic that was making it feel a lot more luck-based than strategy-based. And Season 6 then became my favorite season of all because they introduced augments, and in the first half of that season, those augments were all really useful and could help you craft a team. Really craft a team. But they kind of quickly backed away on that, as in 6.5 they introduced a bunch of augments that contained a lot of random elements, like Recombobulator, for example. Each season since then, I feel like they've gone more and more into the world of random and less into the world of strategy. This season took it to a whole new level, especially with the portals at the beginning. I stopped doing lives because there were just too many games that I was either quitting out of or surrendering early, because one person would choose Stillwater Hold or Yumi's Zoom Zone or some other really bad portal, and we would get stuck with it. It often would start games with a lot of toxicity, and once that begins, I just don't even want to be in the match anymore. I generally don't play norms, and legends I think were supposed to be the counterbalance to that randomness, but they ended up being that there's really only 1 or 2 legends worth taking, depending on what build you want to go, and then if you don't get lucky, yeah, it's kind of a waste to have taken a legend at all. So what I'm saying is that this game has grown into a game that is not fun for me to play anymore. Everyone I know personally who plays it has already quit. A lot of followers of the channel have posted messages that they're at least out for this season. My issue is I don't see Riot changing direction anytime soon, as they've just headed more and more into this style of game. If I was the developer, which I'm not, but if I was, I would be tilting more towards giving more control to the player in trying to allow them to craft teams, and less of the randomness that seems to have become a big part of it. And I certainly wouldn't want augments that are insta-wins, like the Yordle Delivery system, or a start like Piltover that is nearly a guaranteed win, or even a start like this in this match where you end up with the training dummy, but if you end up with 3 meh traits, and that happened to me a couple of times as I tried to recreate what I originally wanted to do in this video, but I wasn't able to get Piltover and Void on the same training dummy ever again. And the opportunity I missed here is I wanted to get a big T-Hex and Baron on the same team at the same time. Oh, and very quick digression here, I had been asked several times to sell my T-Hex because it's supposed to give you a bunch of 5 costs or something, so I had prepared by buying a whole bunch of 5 costs, decided to go ahead, okay, I was gonna win, sell my T-Hex. I'm like, okay, what's in the orb? And all it did was change my items to Radiant and give me a few gold, and yeah, that team was not going to win anymore. So again, just more randomness added in for the sake of randomness, which is why I would never sell a T-Hex if I were you. Overall, I'm just not gonna be playing TFT anymore. What does it mean for this channel? I don't know. If I find another game I think people will like, maybe I'll post something about it. Maybe they find their way back to the stuff I really enjoyed with TFT in a future season, and I revive the channel. I don't know. I just know that the game hasn't really been fun for me this season, and the more I've played it, the less fun it has gotten, and I just wanted to stop playing it. So, yeah. Sorry to end this video on a bummer. I hope you enjoyed the last TFT video on this channel for at least a long time. But as always, hope you have an absolutely awesome day.